We cooked once again, guys. Well, kind of. We hit 2 out of our 3 bets, but we nailed a ton of leans. Leans have been cooking for quite a while together with our official bets. So always when I share 2 or 3 official bets, always stay tuned for the rest of the video. You can get a great value even if they are not official bets. Looking at the last night picks, we can see that we had Harden over, hit, Giannis over, didn't hit, and then Embiid hit as well. But guys, we crossed the 20 units of profit on the show with less than 2 weeks. 32% ROI, it's been just amazing. But let's now jump into today's slate. I'll have 2 official bets, 1 straight bet and 1 same game parlay plus 230 on FanDuel, so stay tuned. First bet is going to be Brandon Ingram over 22.5 points. Widely available at 22.5. Average price probably minus 115 at DraftKings. So let's dive into this one. First, gonna mention there is no Jimmy Butler on the Golden State Warriors, and Draymond could be out on back-to-back game, so I expect their defense to be much worse tonight. Starting off with the head-to-head game they played a couple of weeks ago, we had Brandon Ingram with 26 points on 26 field goal attempted. He went 0 from 8 from behind the 3-point line and still covered. And everyone played in that game. We had Quickly playing, we had Barnes playing, and we had RJ Barrett playing. And RJ Barrett is out tonight, so his usage should be much higher. When we take a look at the games without RJ Barrett, we can see that his usage goes up a ton. 3 more field goal attempts on average and 3% higher usage. Let's set the expected minutes. We can see that in those games without RJ Barrett, with expected minutes, Brandon Ingram averaging close to 23 points, but let's now check where he scores the most points, and that's in the mid-range. And now let's look when he's playing teams who are below average in mid-range defense. We can see that when he's playing teams below average in mid-range defense, he covered this line in 6 out of 9 games, averaging almost 26 points a game. His usage goes up a ton because he shoots most mid-range. He scores most from the mid-range, and then when he's playing teams who allow mid-range, he ends up shooting more than in the average matchups. Usage up to 30%. If you take a look at the usage, it's the least it was 25% and up to 42%. We can check the entire season with expected minutes, and with that kind of usage, when usage is at least 25%, we can see that Ingram covered this in 67% of the games, averaging 25 points a game. If we adjust the matchup stuff, we can see that he is averaging 26 points over 19 games when he faced teams that allow a ton of mid-range, and his usage was up. So yeah, this should be a great spot for Brandon Ingram tonight. Second bet will be LeBron James, but we're gonna build a same game parlay for this one. LeBron James had poor start to a season coming off the injury, but lately he's been cooking. He scored 25.5 points average over the last 18 games. Huge numbers. So I'm going to build same game parlay just around LeBron James. We are going to FanDuel and let's build LeBron James 20 plus points, 6 plus rebounds, and 6 plus assists, getting plus 240. Amazing price on this one. I'll go into the details of this bet, but plus 240. We'll bet half the bet we usually bet. My standard bet is 1.5 units, and I'll bet 0.75 on this one. So we are betting 0.75 to win 1.8 units on this one. Really like this spot, and I'll dive into why I like all this. Starting with points, we can see that he covered 20 plus in 15 out of the last 18 games. The games that he didn't cover, we can see that came against the teams with great rim defense. When we look at the games when he played teams who are not top 10 in points in the paint allowed, he covered this in 11 straight games, averaging 28 points. And we can see that similar players, 2 LeBron James, Jalen Joseph, Scottie Barnes, Edgebert, Randall, Siakam, cooked against Denver Nuggets. They don't have a great rim defense. They are ranked 18th in points in the paint allowed. And if you take a look over the last 15 games, we can see that they are ranked as fourth most points in the paint allowed. We can see a lot of green from the paint where LeBron scores more than 60% of his points. Let's now move on to assists. On the entire season, when we look at the LeBron James, we can see that he's averaging 6.9 assists a game. But let's look at the games without Austin Reeves and with Luka Doncic. Now that moves to the 6.6, but let's check the matchup. We can see that Denver Nuggets rank 17th in assists allowed, but let's look at the last 15 games. Over the last 15, they are down to 21st. They allow even more assists over the last 15 games. And let's now just exclude top 11 teams in assists allowed. Then we get that he covered this in 7 out of the 9 games, averaging 7 point assist a game. So that looks great. We can see that similar players for assist cover this in the 7 out of the last 8. So that's looking great as well. Most of his assists come at the rim. They allow 10th most at the rim, and they allow a ton of from the corners where he also gets a lot of his assists. So we now cover points and assists, and let's go now to the rebounds. LeBron James had a horrible start rebounding this season. We can see that he was under this line in like 10 out of the first 13 games, but looking at the last 10 games, he kind of started rebounding much better, and he is averaging 7.2 rebounds per game over the last 10, and covered this in 7 out of the 10 games. And let's look at the matchup. We can see that similar players rebounding wise covering this great lately against the against Denver Nuggets. And looking at the rebounds allowed, we can see that Denver ranks 9th best, but if you take a look at the last 15 games, they are ranked 26th. So they went from allowing 9th least to the 5th most, and that's obviously without Nikola Jokic and Jonas Valanciunas. They don't have a great rebounding big, so LeBron James should be in an absolutely amazing spot for rebounds, great spot for assist, and great spot for scoring. We are getting great number, plus 240, so I definitely need to take that. If we take a look at the last couple of games, we can see that LeBron played 32 minutes in a blowout, lost 3 minutes due to blowout. 32 minutes in a blowout, lost 3 minutes due to a blowout. 33 minutes in a blowout. So he is expected to play like 36 minutes tonight, which is great for his numbers, as we can see that he lately been playing mostly 32 to 33 in covering, and now he's going to get even more minutes if the game stays close, and we can see the spread is only 2.5, so kind of expect this game to stay close, and if he gets the full minutes, he should smash these lines and definitely get us a great value on this big same game parlay. Make sure to shop around and try to find better price for yourself, but 240 is great for me. And guys, if you like this kind of research, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button down below. We are on a great run and I hope it continues. And now let's just research the rest of the slate. First game on the slate, Suns against the 76ers. 76ers are probably playing without Joel Embiid, so that should be taken into account when you look at these lines. Edge comp, some 14.5 lines. If he was still widely available on 14.5, that will be my official bet. But since he moved, I'm kind of going away from him. But if you take a look at his games without Joel Embiid and Maxey in the lineup, you can see that he's averaging 16 points a game, 15.3 field goal attempts average, big usage jump. But then this is probably the most important part for this. 8 straight similar players by PropsMadness cashed against the Phoenix Suns. They're kind of putting bodies on the best player, and kind of third string players are getting ignored. So Tyrese Maxey probably got tough coverage. Maybe even Paul George when he tries to isolate on post up, then this should be a great fight for edge comp. As I said, it moved to 15.5. I had the great value at 14.5. So no bets on this one. Don't fall into the trap of too low of line for Mark Williams. He's killing this line this season, but you need to take into account that this is a back-to-back game, and in back-to-back games he was playing low minutes this season and was ruled out in a ton of these back-to-back games, so be aware that he could be heavily limited in this spot. Don't like this slate a lot looking at the Clippers, they are on back-to-back. Both Harden and Zubac could be out, but they kind of played lower minutes last game, so maybe that was due to them playing back-to-back and playing today. Zubac is in a nice spot against the Bulls, but he's been horrible lately. Since he returned from the injury, we can see that he didn't perform well, only 12 points average, but there is no Kawhi tonight, so maybe something comes from him. This game also have Josh Giddey potentially being back. He's questionable. So it's a tough spot to bet when like major guys are questionable. Could definitely expect some double teams against James Harden because besides him, there's almost zero offense on this Clippers team. Julius Randle over assist, that could be definitely a great spot, but then plus money is definitely tasty, but looking at the last 10 games, looking at potential assists, he's already 6.7 potential assists. That's crazy. Crazy low number potential assists. I don't know what's going on there. He covered only in 2 out of 10, averaging 4 assists a game. But look at the similar players. Look at the matchup. It's absolutely amazing. They are dead last in assist allowed to his dominant zone, assist allowed to his position, defensive rating, similar players cook. This look the greatest matchup of all time on the paper, but then you look at his numbers and it's crazy. It could also be a huge blowout, so kind of staying away from it, but it is so unfortunate because I would love that if he was just around like 8 to 9 potential assists, I will definitely go for it, but I don't know, then maybe they changed the offense or something, but it definitely doesn't look great, especially he didn't cover against the Cleveland Cavaliers, only 4 potential assists. Miami Heat, one of the best matchups, he didn't cover. Wizards, Miami Heat, Hawks. So these were actually great matchups, and he ended up not covering. Only 5 potential assists against the Bucks. So kind of got lucky there to cover this line. So yeah, staying away from it doesn't look great. Dante DiVincenzo could be in a great spot looking at this. They are dead last in the 2 ways he scores most of his points. Spot up, transition, above the break 3, catch, shoot, similar players cooking. So my lean definitely is on Dante DiVincenzo to cover 13.5 points tonight. We have Nasri questionable. If he's out, that could only help. So Dante DiVincenzo looks great, not gonna lie. Honestly, rough slate. We had great slates last week. Kind of not great last 2 days, but we still ended up profiting. So yeah, let's hope we hit the ones from today and see you into the next one.